Have you ever felt so tired of learning English that you wanted to give up? Yet deep inside, you still hope one small story could change everything for you? You know that feeling, right? When you sit in front of your English notebook, staring at the words, and your brain starts screaming, "Stop it! I can't do this anymore." The irony is, right at the moment you want to quit, you somehow stumble upon this video. Not because I have magic, but because you're about to see yourself inside the story. A story about a Danish family, a real storm, and how they discovered that language is not just about grammar exercises, but sometimes it's a lifeline. Here's the funny thing. The human brain is programmed to hate boring repetition. You read one word 10 times. Your brain gets annoyed. You hear the same phrase on loop. It gets so fed up it pretends not to hear it. And then you think, maybe I'm just not good at languages. But the truth is different. Science calls this cognitive fatigue. Your brain isn't lazy. It just needs a fresh push, a new situation to wake it up. Now imagine living in Copenhagen, where life feels peaceful. Warm, fresh bread, cobblestone streets, and Danes cycling under the sunlight. And then one day, a storm hits. Rain pours down like rage. Winds rip the rooftops apart. You stop caring about whether you've mastered the present continuous tense. All you care about is speaking to get help, speaking to connect, speaking so you're not left behind. Suddenly, language becomes survival. So, if today you feel like giving up, don't blame yourself. Maybe you're just waiting for a small storm, an event, a push that will show you you're stronger than you think. And that's exactly what this video will walk you through. From despair to hope, and finally to the realization that challenges don't destroy you. They build a tougher version of you. Why learning feels hard, let's be honest. Sometimes learning English feels like trying to ride a bike on an icy Copenhagen street in the middle of winter. You're slipping, sliding, and every 5 seconds you think, why am I torturing myself like this? And you're not alone. Most people quit not because they're incapable, but because their brains are screaming for comfort while their goals demand discomfort. Think about it. When you first start, English feels exciting. Every new word is like unwrapping a small gift. But then the honeymoon ends. Suddenly, grammar feels like a puzzle with missing pieces. Listening to native speakers sounds like they're chewing words instead of pronouncing them. And speaking? That's the cruelest part. You know the word in your head, but your tongue refuses to cooperate. It's like your mouth and your brain are on two different Wi-Fi networks. Science actually backs this up. Psychologists talk about the plateau effect. At first, you improve quickly because your brain absorbs the basics like a sponge. But then progress slows down. The human brain hates slow progress. It feels like running in place. This is why so many people say, I studied English for years, but I still can't speak. The truth? They're not stuck. They're just on the plateau. And here's the twist. Living in Denmark makes this even trickier. Danes are famous for speaking excellent English. So imagine you struggling with how are you today, while the cashier at Fotex responds in perfect British or American English. It's intimidating. Your brain whispers, "They're already better. Why bother?" But here's the punchline. That voice in your head? It's lying. Learning a language is not about racing others. It's about building bridges. And every awkward word you speak, every mistake you make, is another brick on that bridge. Sure, the early steps are clumsy, but that's the price of connection. And connection, unlike grammar drills, is something your brain never gets tired of. The Danish family picture this: a small family living in Copenhagen. There's Anna, the mother, who loves baking cinnamon rolls every Sunday. Her husband, Mikkel, works at the harbor, fixing boats that glide in from the Baltic Sea. And then there's their daughter, Sophie, a curious 12-year-old who's just beginning to dream in English after watching too many American movies. Life feels ordinary, almost picture perfect. They cycle together through cobblestone streets, wave at neighbors who always greet them with a cheerful hedge, and on weekends, they sit in a cozy kitchen, sipping hot chocolate while the rain taps gently on the windows. If you walked past their house, you'd think, that's the Danish dream: hygge, warmth, and peace. But here's the thing about life. It never asks if you're ready before throwing you a storm. And this family? They were about to learn that in the most literal way. You see, Anna had always wanted to improve her English. She signed up for courses, but between baking, housework, and caring for Sophie, the books always collected dust on the shelf. Mikkel, on the other hand, shrugged English off as not really necessary. He joked that as long as he could fix boats, he didn't need to fix his grammar. And Sophie? She was eager but shy, practicing English words in front of the mirror when no one was watching. They were like many of us, full of good intentions, but life got in the way. Their motivation came in short bursts, like fireworks, bright for a moment, then gone. Until one night, when the wind began to howl louder than the city trams, and the family realized that their ordinary life was about to change. What they didn't know was that this storm wouldn't just tear at rooftops. It would also shake loose something inside them: their fear of speaking, their hesitation, their excuses. And in the middle of chaos, English would become the thread holding them together. The storm arrives. It began like any other autumn evening in Copenhagen, gray clouds drifting lazily over the city, the smell of rain already hanging in the air. Anna lit a candle in the kitchen. Mikkel leaned back in his chair after a long day at the harbor, and Sophie was curled up with her English homework, doodling more than studying. Nothing suggested that the night would be different. But then, the wind shifted. It started as a low whistle, like someone blowing across a bottle. Within minutes, it turned into a roar, rattling the old windows of their brick house. Sophie looked up and asked, "Is that normal?" Mikkel tried to laugh it off, but the ceiling lamp swayed like a nervous dancer, betraying the truth. This was no ordinary storm. The rain didn't just fall, it attacked. Sheets of water slapped against the glass, while the wind howled like a train rushing through narrow tunnels. Outside, the streetlights flickered, and bicycles crashed one after another like dominoes on the wet pavement. The family huddled together, their cozy kitchen suddenly shrinking as the storm flexed its muscles. Here's the strange part. Storms have a way of mirroring the mind. Just as the wind strips trees bare, fear strips away confidence. Anna thought about the English words she never dared to use. Mikkel worried about the boats at the harbor, but also about how helpless he felt when he had to call for help in English. And Sophie? She realized her heart was pounding not just from thunder, but from the thought, what if I can't say what I need when it matters most? And then came the crash. A branch, thick and heavy, slammed against the roof, sending dust down from the ceiling. The lights went out. Darkness swallowed the room, except for the candle trembling on the table. That was the moment the storm wasn't just outside anymore. It had stepped into their lives, demanding courage, demanding words. And soon, they would discover that English wasn't just a subject in Sophie's notebook. It was the key to surviving the night. After the damage when morning finally came, the family stepped outside, and their street looked nothing like the peaceful Copenhagen lane they knew. Roof tiles were scattered across the ground, tree branches blocked the bicycles, and pieces of someone's garden fence floated in puddles. Their own roof had a gaping hole, and water had leaked into the living room, soaking Anna's books and Sophie's school bag. Mikkel tried to stay calm, but his voice shook. We'll need help and fast. He reached for the phone, but when the emergency hotline answered in English, his throat tightened. The words were there in his head, but they stuck, refusing to move to his mouth. He hung up, muttering, I can't. Not like this. Anna picked up the phone next, heart pounding. She whispered to herself, I know these words. I practiced them. But when the operator said, please describe the damage, her tongue twisted. She mixed Danish and broken English until even she wasn't sure what she was saying. Embarrassed, she passed the phone to Sophie. And here's the twist. Sophie, the shy one, spoke. Slowly, clumsily, but bravely. The roof is broken. Water in house. We need help, please. It wasn't perfect, but it was enough. The operator understood. Relief washed over all three of them, though it came with a sting. Their survival had depended on English, and they weren't ready. This is what psychologists call a shock of necessity. When comfort disappears, the brain activates survival mode. And in that mode, mistakes don't matter. Communication does. Think about it. You don't care about grammar when the roof is leaking on your head. You just want to be understood. For Anna, Mikkel, and Sophie, the storm ripped more than their roof. It tore away their excuses, their delays, their I'll learn tomorrow. They realized that not knowing English didn't just feel embarrassing anymore. It felt dangerous. And sometimes, danger is the best teacher. That morning, Standing in a wet, broken house, the family quietly promised themselves something. This would never happen again. The storm had destroyed part of their home, but it had also built a new fire inside them. Finding a new way the next week was chaos. Insurance papers, repairs, neighbors checking in. But in the middle of all this, something shifted inside the family. English was no longer a subject, it was a survival tool. And if tools matter, you sharpen them. Anna decided to practice in the most ordinary place, the supermarket. She told Sophie, "We buy food in Danish, but let's also try in English. Just a little." So in front of the cashier, she whispered, "2 breads, please." It was awkward, but the smile she got back was worth it. Mikkel, usually stubborn, found his own way. At the harbor, tourists often asked for directions. Before, he'd shrug and point. Now he forced himself to answer in English, even if it came out broken. One afternoon, an American asked, "Where can I rent a bike?" Mikkel froze, then blurted, "Bicycle, you go straight left." The tourist grinned and replied, "Perfect. Thank you." That tiny success felt bigger than fixing any boat. And Sophie? She turned the storm into homework. She sat at the window, notebook open, and practiced sentences aloud. "The storm is big. The roof is broken. We are strong." Her words were simple, but each one was a seed of confidence. Sometimes Anna joined her. Mini practice dialogue, Sophie. "Good morning, Mom." Anna. "Good morning, Sophie. How are you?" Sophie. "I am fine. I am strong." It sounds childish, right? But science says repetition in context creates muscle memory for language. Just like cycling, your body remembers. Day by day, English stopped being a monster hiding in grammar books. It became a game they played at breakfast, a challenge in the streets, a bridge to strangers. And every time they stumbled, they laughed. Not because mistakes weren't real, but because mistakes were proof they were moving. The storm had taken away their roof. But in return, it gave them a new way of learning, a way stitched into daily life, not hidden in dusty textbooks. The breakthrough moment it happened 2 weeks later. Repairs were still unfinished, and the family lived half in chaos, half in hope. One rainy afternoon, there was a knock at the door. A group of volunteers, international students, stood outside, offering help with cleaning and rebuilding. Their smiles were warm, but their Danish was clumsy. And just like that, the family's only option was English. At first, silence filled the air. Anna's palms sweated. Mikkel cleared his throat. Sophie clutched her notebook. Then one of the students asked, "Do you need help with the roof?" Anna's heart raced, but she answered, "Yes, roof broken. Watered inside." The student nodded, understanding. Encouraged, she added, "We need wood and tools." Her grammar was a mess, but her meaning was crystal clear. Mikkel stepped in next. "We clean together? You strong, I strong." The room erupted in laughter, not mocking, but friendly. That laughter was magic. It told him, "You're speaking. We understand. Keep going." Then came Sophie's moment. She took a deep breath and said, "Thank you for coming. We are very happy. We learn English with you." The students cheered, clapped, and one replied, "Your English is good. Don't worry." Mini practice dialogue student. Do you need help? Anna. Yes, we need help with the roof. Mikkel. Let's clean together. Sophie. Thank you for coming. That afternoon turned into something bigger than fixing wood and nails. It was the first time the family used English naturally in real conversation, without overthinking every mistake. And guess what? Nobody cared about perfect grammar. The only thing that mattered was connection. Psychologists call this the flow moment, when fear shuts up and words finally flow, even if they're broken. For the family, this was no longer about surviving a storm. It was about discovering their own voices. By the end of the day, their house looked less broken, but their confidence looked stronger than ever. Lessons from the storm. Here's the truth the family discovered. Storms don't just destroy roofs. They strip away illusions. Before the storm, English was just someday. After the storm, English became today or never. And isn't that how life works? We wait, we delay, we make excuses until a challenge crashes in and forces us to grow. Anna realized something simple but powerful. Communication beats perfection. Nobody cared if her verbs were in the wrong tense. What mattered was that she spoke, and someone understood. Mikkel learned that strength isn't just in his arms fixing boats. It's also in his courage to stumble through words. And Sophie discovered that her shy little sentences could carry real weight, opening doors her silence never could. Mini reflection practice, Anna. Mistakes are okay. Silence is not. Mikkel. Courage is speaking, even when afraid. Sophie. Small words can make big changes. Psychologists have a name for this, too. It's called post-traumatic growth. It means that sometimes the very thing that shakes you also shapes you. The storm was brutal, yes, but it gave the family something priceless. Proof that they were stronger than they thought. And here's the part that hits hardest. Challenges don't ask permission. They arrive like storms, loud, sudden, inconvenient. You can hide, or you can speak. And every time you choose to speak, even in broken English, you're building muscles for the next storm. So the lesson? Don't wait for disaster to push you. Don't wait for perfect English that never comes. Start now. Speak now. Because storms may break windows, but they also open doors. Practical tips. So, what does this story mean for you, sitting there, maybe tired, maybe ready to give up? You don't need a giant storm to change your English. You can build your own small storms, tiny daily challenges that push you out of comfort and into growth. Let's make it simple, like a Danish checklist for everyday life. At the supermarket, instead of just pointing, say it out loud. 1 apple, please. Do you have milk? Every trip becomes a mini speaking lesson. On the bike, Danes love cycling, right? While you ride, repeat a phrase out loud. The weather is cold, but I am strong. It feels silly, but it wires your brain to think in English automatically. With family at dinner, make one rule. One sentence in English every night. Anna, this soup is good. Mikkel, I am tired but happy. Sophie, I love my family. Watching TV or news, choose 5 words. Write them down. Use each word in one short sentence before bed. For example, if the word is storm, the storm is over. Talking to strangers next time a tourist asks for help, don't freeze. Use your broken English toolkit, go straight. Turn left. Nobody expects perfect English. They just need directions. And here's the science. Repetition in short, daily bursts creates habit loops. Your brain starts to expect English the way it expects coffee in the morning. You don't have to fight anymore. It just flows. Build your checklist. Speak one sentence here. Whisper one phrase there. These are your small storms. And small storms over time make you unshakable. Closing message. And so, the family learned something you already know deep down. Storms don't just break things, they build people. Their roof may have cracked, but their voices grew stronger. And your voice, it's waiting too. Maybe you're sitting there thinking, I make too many mistakes. I'll never sound good enough. But here's the truth. Nobody remembers your grammar. They remember your courage. They remember that you spoke when silence would have been easier. Think of Sophie's words to the volunteers. We are strong. 3 simple words. Imperfect grammar, but perfect courage. And that's the kind of English that changes lives. Mini practice. I am learning every day. My mistakes make me stronger. I will not give up. Here's the final thought I want you to carry. Challenges are not walls. They are doors. And every time you speak, even with broken English, you're turning the handle a little more. One day, the door swings wide open, and you'll realize you've been strong enough all along. Don't wait for a storm to force you forward. Be your own storm. Start today, start small, but start speaking. That's it for today. I'll be making more videos like this soon, so don't forget to hit subscribe and stay tuned.